feeling about you guys is I'm getting this sense that you have recently distanced yourself from a person, okay? And I feel like there's still somewhat of memories, nostalgia, and things like that. And the person that you've distanced yourself from, there's this long-rooted sense of history between the two of you. And I feel like there's a sense of responsibility that is still, connecting you both together. So I would say, like, it almost feels to me like there's this cord of attachment situation still linking you up with other people, with the other person via responsibilities, obligation, possibly children for some of you, or possibly like financial assets that you're still somewhat linked up with. I almost feel like this sense of pity. That's what I'm feeling, and I don't use that word lightly. And I feel that that word can be misconstrued as condescending. When we pity somebody, we kind of look down upon their station and where they're at. So it feels to me like that's not a word that I like to use. But it seems almost as if one person, the other, you or the other person, someone is really struggling financially, and I feel there's this sense of like obligation and pity coming from one person to the other. And as a result of it, you're still somewhat, this karmic cord of attachment that's still linking you both together because of it. I also feel like there's this maturation process. So sorry for the shuffling. There's this maturation process that's happening in your life, and I feel like the maturation is like an emotional maturation process. It's about like being wiser with where we give our energy and who we give our energy to, who we give our time to, and who we give our resources to. So I feel that financially for this month, honestly, it seems really stable for you guys. A lot of you are coming into a space of abundance, okay? And this is not going to apply to all, but I feel like some of you are in a very good space financially right now. And I feel as a result of it, you might have disposable income. You might be in a position to, give help to other people. And you're a lot more discerning this month about where you're devoting your time, your energy, and your resources. So I feel like it's the whole, sobering up, the whole growing up, like maturation process when it comes to no longer being naive, no longer like operating purely from the heart. I feel that you're coming into a space with a lot of discernment, with a lot of like awareness about what other people's intentions are. And I feel like you're not doing this in the spirit of like holding on to your resources or protecting your heart. I feel that a lot of you have overcome a lot, and you're realizing how strong you are. So it's not really about that. It's just about total discernment and maturation, okay? What I'm also feeling is I feel some travel, some movement happening for you guys, and a lot of communication coming through from friends and loved ones. So I feel like on the romantic front, a lot of you are in a pretty good station right now. You might have some options, and that's why, the whole process of discernment is coming through, where you're not going to just hang out and go out and date and with everybody. You are cutting back on the time that you're giving others, and you're trying to find somebody who is worthy, is what I feel, of your time, of your devotion. And there's still a little bit of treading lightly, which is great, and that's what I really like to see for you guys. So I feel like July might have been a little bit, I'm sorry, August, last month, August might have been a little bit of a difficult month, and it came out heavily in the reading. So I hope like a lot of you have overcome this and are now trying to, move on from it. What I'm also sensing is I feel like somebody's trying to reach out to you, and just be very careful about this. They're reaching out to you, and there's this sense of entitlement coming from their end, okay? It's sort of like, hey, you owe me, or I deserve this. And I feel like a lot of you you have a really giving and forgiving heart. And whenever someone needs your help, if it's like, within your limits, you definitely will offer your services and your and advice. And I feel like there's a sense of entitlement about this person where they feel that I'm just going to reach out and you know, I'll take what I can get. It's sort of like that energy, that sense of entitlement, that sense of like, hey, you owe me, you know, life owes me, the universe owes me. And this is something you want to be very careful about, okay? If you're dealing with somebody like that, I feel that the best option is just not respond, okay? So because I feel like it's not going to lead anywhere, and I also feel that I feel like you've dealt with this person multiple times, and they have always been like this. So there's no point in engaging in that conversation because they're not going to change. It's going to make you frustrated, and I feel like you're just, you know, on different wavelengths. You're up here and they're down here. They're still trying to find themselves. They're still trying to understand, you know, law of attraction, rules of the universe, the whole give and take balance. And I feel like they just have this innate sense of entitlement that people owe them. So I feel like the best thing to do is just not deal with, not engage in that conversation. Don't even have that conversation to begin with, okay? What I'm also sensing as well is there's some type of a ending to long-standing struggle and conflict. You're rebuilding your confidence for sure. I'm sensing that. And you're also like, I feel like freed from something, someone's. Whoever that was exerting a huge influence on you, you're finally freed from it. And I feel like you're crossing over to the next threshold. Like you're crossing over this threshold to start a new phase in your life, okay? There's still straggling, like, you know, loose ends here and there, dealing with other people. But once again, just don't engage, okay? Just give them silence and move on with your life, okay? I feel like, you know, last month when I mentioned that whole thing about getting out of a situation and then trying to figure out what's my next step. And I feel like a lot of you have gotten out of that situation and now you're trying to figure out your next step. And you're at a loss. I feel like you're just kind of deciding where to go. So you haven't really taken that first step yet. Others of you might have, and you're actually in a really good emotional space right now because you have taken that step to be independent, to be on your own. The other ones, I feel like a small minority still are trying to like figure out, you know, have a clearer sense of direction. So I feel like a lot of you are just like, should I do this? Should I do that? But at least you're thinking about it. And at least you're, you know, planning things out in a more practical, in a more logical manner. And I feel like other people are coming through for you. And I see three. They're giving you some ideas. Here, you should do this. You should go here. Or you should, you know, link up this way. So I feel like they're giving you some information and you're having almost like a lot of information flooding your path and you're trying to weigh out the options. So you haven't made up your mind yet, but I feel like a lot of you have gotten out of, you know, whatever restrictive environment you were in and you're trying to decide on the next phase and you have some options coming through as to, you know, where to go, okay? So overall, it looks really good, Pisces. I'm glad that the energy cleared up from last month. I'm really, really happy to see that. So having said that, I'm a little bit behind on the shuffling. Let me see if there's anything else I'm feeling for you guys. A lot of you who might have met somebody in August, you know, like a brand new person, okay, in August, if you have met somebody who is a brand new person, and I feel like there's something about foreign, you know, like I'm hearing the word foreign, so that might be somebody who is different from you in some way, okay? They might even be the same racial, linguistic, ethnic, from the same group, but they might just be very different from you in some way. And I feel like this is a person that does want a commitment, okay? They're trustworthy. And I feel like right now, you sense that when it comes to all of your social interactions and all the people that you're dealing with, I definitely feel that you want trust, you want devotion, you want faithfulness and commitment. In all of your friendships, in all of your interpersonal relationships. So you value that a great deal. And I feel like for a lot of you too, you are yourself very, very faithful, very, very honest. And I feel overall just, you know, upfront. So I feel that you're attracting the right types of people in your life right now. And it looks really good, okay? I'm really happy to see everything has pretty much, I feel like things have really cleared up for you guys. And you're getting some clarity as to, the next phase that you need to move things along in the next step that you need to take. So emotionally, you're in a really good space right now. And I feel like, last month, I believe I mentioned like reach out to families and things like that. So that's coming in for this month. Reach out to people that you consider your family. You might not know them, for since childhood, but I feel like you know who you trust and you value that a lot more than flakiness and excitement and flakiness. So I feel like your priorities are definitely shifting, and as a result of it, there's this massive energy shift that's happening. I'm trying to avoid this area because of the glare. So let's go into your reading, okay? So the first thing that's coming through here, we do have some options that are made available to you. But like I said, I feel like the options are coming in, but you haven't really decided yet and you haven't really made a choice. So the Four of Cups usually denotes a situation where we do have some options on our plate, and we can decide how we want to go forward, okay? In some rare instances, this is also telling me that it's like the definition from the facade.com website, and that I really like, is longing for the undefinable, okay? So there's this thing up here that you want, and you feel like it's the Holy Grail, and this is something that you really desire. But I feel like, first of all, it hasn't really been well thought out. It hasn't been formulated. And I feel that you're still thinking about this and you're trying to decide, how do I get there? What do I do with these other options in order for me to achieve that Holy Grail, in order for me to achieve that wish, in order for me to have this one thing that I really want? So the other definition of this card is boredom, ruminating, longing for something that you can't have or is not good for you, and rejecting the other options. So I feel like a lot of you might be dealing with a combination of all these three interpretations, which leads me to believe that you have some options and you're still trying to decide. You're not really budging just yet, and you're still trying to decide, what's the next step? What do I do from here? And in the background, we do have this tree. And the trees, usually for me, they always indicate like a lot of wisdom because they've been around for a long time. I mean, it's an old tree. Wisdom through, calmness, through tranquility, through meditation. So I feel that for a lot of you, you've come to a point where you are maturing. You're coming into across information, and you're coming across situations that have made you mature, grow up, and that has, provided you with a lot of wisdom. And there's this inner sense of tranquility about you that I feel coming through for this month. It's that phase where, it feels to me like acceptance, It feels like I'm accepting that this is the situation that I'm dealing with, and I'm trying to decide what to do next. So I feel like that's the contemplative state that you're in. It's linked up with the Strength card, and both of these combination denotes to me that you have some sort of a strong divine protection around you that's happening right now, okay? And I'm feeling a very strong like maternal influence, so somebody that might have already crossed over. And the thing about the Strength card is very different from the Emperor or the Empress card or even the High Priestess. The Strength card indicates like some type of divine protection from angels is what I'm seeing, okay? And I feel like somebody is like whispering in your ears, giving you some type of spiritual advice. And I feel they're doing that so that you can work up the courage in order to take these options, okay? So I feel like a lot of you want security, and a lot of you want stability. You want the path that is going to lead you exactly where to the thing that you want. And I feel like all these options are serving as like detours, It's like the path to getting there should be linear, right? Like very straightforward, A to B. But all these little options involve a lot of little detours along the way, and you feel like if I were to go with option A, it's going to take me like 5 months. Option B, 10 months, and so on. And I feel like you want the fastest route. That's what I'm sensing. And your guides are telling you things in life happen for a reason. And it's not really so much about the destination. It's all about the learning process. So whatever route that you take, it's going to take you exactly where you are predestined to go. So it's just a matter of you like trusting that it's about the learning experience, okay? It's about the experience of having that you're going to get along the journey of life. So I feel like you're thinking about this situation and you're getting some very strong divine messages coming through that's telling you to be patient and to be courageous as well. Take the step and they will guide you along the way. So I feel like that's what's happening here. And whatever you start now, whatever you start now for this month, I feel that things are going to start culminating and coming to fruition. And I do feel it's gonna emerge in about, it's gonna like bear, I feel like something emerging from this, and it's gonna be really fruitful for you, okay? So there's an element here of 4. So for example, if something is like, if you're ruminating over something and you're like, this one takes 5 months or 5 weeks, the other one takes 4 months or 4 weeks, go with that 4 months, 4 week option, okay? There's an element of 4 here that they really want you to keep an eye out for, all right? And I feel like they might be investment opportunities for some of you. Others, it might just be options about like, you know, when do I start, or uh, like what's the salary cap. There's an element here of 4, so keep an eye out for that, okay, if that's coming through for you. In terms of your communication, we do have the 3 of Pentacles and the Princess of Swords. So I really like this card, and I really like this combination together. So let's talk about this card first. The 3 of Pentacles is about discussions, okay, with collaboration, discussions with other people. And it's working together with somebody, a group of people or another individual, to build something of value. And this is a really good card, which means that you are I guess like in the same path, you know, like everyone is cooperating and everyone is trying to work towards a common goal. The Princess of Swords or the Page of Swords indicates to me like research, communication back and forth, the exchange of technical information, okay? Both of these things indicate to me that I feel like for right now, you're thinking about expanding something, you're thinking about building something, and I feel like it is career related. And the Pentacles card, the Pentacles are not filled in. So they're not filled in the way that the other pentacles are in like the traditional Rider-Waite deck. It's usually filled in, or it's usually left empty, okay? So in this case, it's sort of like you're trying to decide, you know, what do I need to do to boost my resume? For example, that's the 3 of Pentacles. What do I need to do to launch the next thing? And what do I need to do like to make my money grow for me? So you're consulting somebody on how to make something grow, on how to do something on a practical level. And coupled with the the Page of Swords, this indicates to me some type of a research, some type of preliminary, you know, reading up on information, studying something, learning something, getting technical details, and at least like getting a lot of communication from other people, getting advice, counsel, and things like that as well, as to how you can expand something, okay? For others of you, you might be involved with an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra in some capacity, where you are both trying to work together to build something together. And you're a water sign, they are an air sign. So I feel that they might push you to make a decision. I do sense that, okay? So in whatever capacity you're coming to them with, or they're coming to you in, I feel that you both are trying to build something together, trying to solidify something. And because they're more communicative, they might say, here's this option, here's that option, here's something else that I've thrown up. So these are all options. There's a lot of information that they're throwing your way. And I feel like you're kind of afraid to act. That's what I'm feeling. You're taking in all of the information that they're giving you, and you're processing everything. You know, they might be like, let's go here, here, here. And it's a lot of options. And, you know, as a water sign, and I see this like with Scorpios and Pisces, especially. Cancers are a little bit more like go with the flow, you know, like whatever you decide to do, that's fine. But with Scorpios and Pisces, you're very deliberate with like your decision. So I just want you to know that when you're dealing with this person, they suggest a lot of things, okay? And the things might not be practical. And don't take everything that they're saying as a serious suggestion. Take everything with a grain of salt, I would say. And they just throw information, suggestions out there. And they're going to give you a lot to think about. And it's not realistic to take everything that they say to heart. So, for example, if they're telling you, hey, this weekend, let's do these 7 things. Pick the one that you want and don't overthink it. Just pick the one that you want and then go with that, okay? Because I feel like they're giving you a lot of information and you're overthinking it and you're like withdrawing because you're inundated with information. So I feel like it doesn't have to be like that, because I feel that they're a little bit more innocent, more childlike. So they're going to throw a lot of information your way, and you don't need to, take too long, because these are just very, very minor decisions. That's what I'm sensing here. So don't overthink it, okay? Don't be too slow to act, is what I feel. In terms of your emotional state, and once again, really good combinations. We do have the King of Cups as well as the Ten of Cups. So let's talk about this situation first with the King of Cups. This is a situation in which I feel like you have mastery, or you have like total mastery over your emotions, okay? This is like the culmination or the apex of that, the cup suit, where someone is really in control of how they feel. This indicates emotional balance, emotional stability, and also having that ability to know when you need to invest your emotions and know when to draw back your emotions. So this is like, ultimately, I feel like a lot of you have drawn boundaries, clear boundaries between yourself and other people. And I feel like right now you're in a really, really good state emotionally. So I'm really happy to see this card for you guys. We also have the Ten of Cups, and the Ten of Cups is basically total bliss, joy, emotional happiness, okay? And I feel affairs, other things that are external to you, you're not letting them get to you. So I don't feel like you're easily swayed by other people and their emotional fluctuations, okay? You're very in control at this present moment. I feel this combination also indicates a lot of support, a lot of love coming in from family, friends, loved ones, and your environment. You're getting a lot of support. So I feel like whatever step that you're planning to make, and you're just like, I need to decide on my future, on my career, on the next path in my life. Whatever you decide, other people, especially the people that are around you, are going to be really supportive. So I feel like someone is like, they see that you're trying to do this, so they're sending a lot of information your way to help you. So for example, if you might have been like building up your resume and you might have been job hunting, I feel like friends and family might randomly shoot you emails and they say, here's a job that I came across, you might be interested. So you're getting a lot of support, you're getting a lot of communication, and you're getting a lot of good ideas from other people. But the thing is that sometimes they might like inundate you with too much information, too much attention, too much love, and it's like you don't really have enough time, in the day to touch bases with everyone. And I feel like right now you're feeling okay. You're in a really good space. So just tell them, hey, I'm gonna need some time to myself, so I'm gonna need to draw back a little bit and figure all of these things out. So you guys are giving me too much information. So definitely say that if that's something that you feel, okay? Spending a little bit of time alone, retreating from this, it's also good for you. So either way, I feel that emotionally you're in a very, very good space, and there's a lot of love and support coming through from family members. A lot of you are in a situation where, family members and the family unit, they might require something from there. And they're celebrating you as well, is what I'm sensing, because the King of Cups is also water sign, water element, okay? For others of you, especially if you've had some type of past estrangement with your father, your own father, biological or, non-biological father. If there has been some type of an estranged relationship from family members, especially a father figure, this is the month in which I feel like this person might say to you, hey, I'm really proud of you, or, they might try to mend that rift, okay? If that is the case, I do feel that their intentions are sincere, like especially from a father figure. So I feel like they have good intentions and they're trying to mend some type of a rift with you. They might ask you to be around a little bit more to help them with certain things, but I do feel that it's done in the spirit of love. Okay, it's not like they're trying to take advantage of you or anything like that. Okay, so I do see that coming through. Others of you might be just, have another water sign in your midst, a Pisces, another Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio. And I feel that this is somebody that you're getting a lot of emotional fulfillment from. And it can be family, it can be, friendship, or it can be love. And I'm going to look into your love situation, but I feel like things are just overflowing this month. You're in a really good space emotionally. Now, in terms of travel movement, we do have the Two of Pentacles and the Chariot. So the Two of Pentacles indicates a situation where emotionally we're balanced. We're actually in a very good space, okay? And I feel like for a lot of you, you might be contemplating some financial options, okay? Such as investments, such as deciding between two jobs, or even like trying to manage two jobs, okay, like staying afloat, working one job in the daytime, one job at night, struggling like juggling school life, work life, love life, and work life balance. Okay, all of these things are coming through, and I do feel that you're doing it successfully. And I feel like in the past you might not have had to, it was always like relationships come first, but I feel like this is a month in which relationships are important, yes, but career and, practical career considerations are coming through as well. So I feel like you're trying to get this personal life and professional life balance going for yourself. And I feel like in the past it was more erring on the side of relationship and you end up giving too much. And now you're pulling back your energy and you're juggling two things and you're trying to manage. And you're doing so very successfully because we have the Chariot as well, which indicates like working with these disharmonious energies, the black horse and the white horse, harnessing disparate energies in order to go in the right direction, in order to like not be at cross purposes with yourself, in order to like decide what you need to do. So it requires a lot of discipline. It requires a lot of self-awareness and a lot of knowledge and mastery over what it is that you're doing. So I feel a lot of success coming through for you. You might have two job offers that are on the table. You might have two options. One of them I feel might be overseas, going overseas by boat or by air. The other options might be by land. So you are deciding between two very different things. They both seem very good, and I don't feel like there's any, anything that can go wrong, okay? I'm going to pull out another card here because we do have here the Ten of Swords. So give me just 1 second. Let me see what's going on here. And then I'll go into your spiritual advice. Okay, something flipped over. Okay, so the advice here, we do have the Ten of Swords, and I feel like this is something that's basically, when it shows up as advice, it doesn't mean that it's going to come in for the month. This is basically showing up as confirmation for something that you should know and that you should be aware of, okay? So don't fret and don't worry too much. Now, the Ten of Swords basically indicates to you that, something's done and over with. A phase of your life has ended. A new phase is beginning. I'm sorry. So I feel that for a lot of you, you're in a really good space right now because you've released some things, okay? You're no longer tied to it. And it's basically telling you that was actually a potentially very painful situation. You've left it behind. I feel that you're still thinking about it. And I feel like a lot of you might be tempted to go back, and it's pretty much, clear cut. This was a really bad situation. You're away from it. There's distance between you and that situation. So move on with your life. A lot of you are still thinking about it. I do sense that. You're still trying to figure out like, hey, should I, entertain that thought? But I feel like it's more in the fantasy realm. It's not, I don't feel you taking steps to get yourself back here, which I think is great, okay? And one of the things that's coming through to help you here is the Ace of Cups, which is overflowing emotional contentment and love, okay? So you've got new love potentially that you have recently entered the picture, and you might be trying to build something with another person, and you're in a really good emotional space right now. I feel like you're in a really good space, and I'm really glad to see this for you. So I pulled out two cards to clarify the Ten of Swords, and I have the Princess of Pentacles as well as the Eight of Cups. Okay, so a lot of you might have been somehow involved with an earth sign person. So this is a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And this was potentially a painful situation. It was problematic. It was just something that was, I feel like, long-standing. You know, like, it was a long-standing thing. And you might have like shifted between, you know, lovers and then friends and then seeing where everything goes. But I feel this is the month in which, you know, that situation is coming to an end, or it has ended in August. Okay. This also denotes to me like job situation. A lot of you might be shifting one job for the other, or you are deciding between two jobs and you have already decided, and now you're trying to implement the next phase. But you know, there's always that mourning process when we have two options, and choosing one option means negating the other one. So I feel like there's that whole, you know, I wonder if I chose option B, what life would be like. So there's that sense of like still weighing out your options, but knowing and being smart enough so that you're not going to put yourself back here. So I feel like you're in a really good space right now, Pisces. I'm really happy to see this. I feel like the same thing happened with Sagittarius, where, you know, the August reading was a little bit problematic, but they got over it. Like they pushed on ahead, and things are okay, especially for this month. So the energy is very similar between you and Sagittarius. So I'm going to go into your love reading, and you are the first sign that I am implementing this new spread with. So let's just see how it goes, okay? Let's just see how it goes. So we're going to pull out some cards here. I'm going to do your overall energy, and then the bottom is going to be sort of like a spread that I devised, and it's more like a mirror spread. So we're going to try it and see how it goes. So that's the overall energy, that's the challenge. And then we're going to go into more of the mirror spread. You've got a lot of reversals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we'll see how it goes, okay? And if I need to pull out more cards, I'll do that. So the overall energy here is the Two of Pentacles. This is basically juggling two options, juggling multiple things, okay? Or being in a state of emotional flux, so like emotional ups and downs, and dealing with somebody who might have been like just emotionally unbalanced, okay? So I feel like this is a situation you were contending with, where you didn't have that sense of security, that firm footing in a relationship. So I feel like right now a lot of you might have shifted between you know, from one relationship, ended something, and then starting over. And I feel like it might have been a really long-standing relationship where it served as your foundation. So it seems almost as if you have to begin from scratch and to rebuild your foundation. And I feel like for some of you, you might be in a situation where you're dating people and you have some options coming through, and you're trying to hedge your bets. You're trying to gauge, you know, potential for each individual options. So I feel like the time that you are devoting to relationships, you're going to have to cut back a little bit, and you're going to have to learn like better time management when it comes to finding that work life and that personal life balance, okay? And also personal space, as well as like partnership space. Finding that balance is going to be really important for you. I feel that a lot of you are, we have in the challenge position, we have here the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands indicates a very, very nurturing, very mother-like energy. It's, you could be potentially dealing with someone with children. You yourself could be dealing with children. And I feel like that is becoming a little bit of an obstacle, hindering your ability to date and your ability to fully invest in situations, okay? So there might be a lot of responsibilities overall as a couple, as a unit, or even as a single parent, or even as a single single person dealing with liking somebody who might have children. So I definitely feel like some type of a situation where you're trying to navigate the water, okay? I also feel in the challenge position, this is like this is a very, very flirtatious person is what I'm feeling. They're very caring, very loving, and they do give their power away a lot. Okay, they're like overly caring, overly mothering, overly nurturing. So just be mindful about this energy if you see it exhibiting or it coming from you, where you feel like you're like overly protective of another person, and they might say like, hey, you know, I need a lot more space, you're not giving me enough space. I feel like once you get yourself emotionally invested in another person, you start to see them as an extension of yourself. And especially like if you care about them, you start to overstep your boundaries, and you start to like treat them, you know, like they need protection. So just be very careful about respecting somebody else's freedom of choice, and not to overstep their boundaries, okay? Like you want to help, yes, but unless they ask for it, then try to hold back a little bit. Or you can ask them, hey, if you need help, I'm willing to help you out, but I feel like you need to really clearly maintain these boundaries, okay? This is also a card about passion and excitement, and you know, like I feel like putting in the effort in order to build and to foster a new relationship. This little plant here is something that is emerging, it's new, it's delicate, and I feel like a lot of you are trying to find time to do this with a new relationship, okay? So the first two things here, they mirror one another. We do have the World card, and the World card basically indicates a situation where we have like kind of sequestered ourselves into our little cocoon, and I feel like it might be with a lot of you might have recently left like an old relationship. You've sailed on from troubled water. You're trying to like find yourself, and you're trying to like look at other options that are available to you. And a lot of you might have been really, really busy on the work front, and you're not giving yourself that freedom of movement to flow and to really move out and about. And I do feel that this is the month in which you're breaking out from your shell. You're moving past old energy. You're sailing past it, and you're overcoming it, and you're going to be able to break out of your shell, okay? What came in the past here is we have the Nine of Cups as well as the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups in the reverse position is looking back at a past relationship, a past person that is trying to reemerge in our lives and seeing it for what it is, okay? This is like the whole, you know, no longer being naive, no longer seeing somebody and putting somebody on a pedestal, and especially no longer falling for false promises. So looking at a situation from the past and not seeing all the good and ignoring the bad, it's seeing that the past relationship, it was actually a lot more painful and a lot more problematic than we would like to believe. So I feel like a lot of you have, you know, sequestered yourself. And I feel like you came into the point where you are able to process your feelings. You're able to process past events. And you are coming to the conclusion that, hey, it actually wasn't even all that great. And it usually denotes to me a blast from the past that might have been problematic, that might have been a very negative experience. And I feel like you're going to get some type of communication from that. And I feel a lot of you are just not going to respond. You're just going to give them the silent treatment, and you're just going to move on with your life, okay? Because we have here the Nine of Cups showing up in the reverse, which basically means that the do-over is not going to happen. You're not going to get a second chance, and you're not going to be able to fix this situation because realistically, it's no longer meant on your path. It was like, it could have even been a soulmate connection that was in your life for a very, very brief snippet of time. There were important, valuable information and lessons to be learned from that, but they're not meant for you forever, okay? So I feel like a lot of you are coming to the realization that, yes, that's the case, and yes, you're moving on. The other two things that are coming through, you've got two wish cards, both in the reverse, and all of this is happening in the past. So I feel like a lot of you have let stuff go. So I'm really happy. We have a star as well, which is the star indicates our life path, our purpose, our higher calling. When the star is in the reverse position, it basically means that somebody is not walking on the same path with us. Somebody is not wanting the same things. They don't want to build. And, you know, it's a card about vision and healing as well. So I feel like there's still some pain, residual healing that needs to take place from the past, but you are realizing that, you know, you're sailing past it. And I do feel that sometime this month, especially in the middle of the month, you're gonna be in a really good space emotionally, okay? If you're not yet, when you get the communication from that person from the past, it's gonna trigger, you know, those dormant feelings. And then you're gonna be like, oh, I knew it, and you're gonna move on, okay? So there's no looking back here. This like is like pretty much the end of an era. So I feel like you're starting to realize that the relationship was very restricted. It also lacked passion, and it also lacked like a common purpose. It's mirrored with the Four of Cups, which is a card about releasing something, okay? Releasing something, letting things go. And I feel like there is a situation that you devoted a lot of energy in. It didn't bring you any type of reward, and you're moving on. And I feel like you're actually really happy to be able to move on from this, because we have the Two Wish card in the reverse position, and we have you shifting, moving on out, like physically removing yourself from an environment that was no longer growth inducing, okay? What I'm also sensing is I feel honestly for some of you, you were in a very, very restricted restrictive relationship. So someone kind of like took you away from all your friends, from your support system, from your network. And now you're basically, you have left that behind, and you're coming through, and you are trying to like widen your social circle, or to, you know, reconnect with people again in your support system. I feel there's an element here of potentially you have two options, like in terms of, you know, romantic partners and things like that. And I feel like there might be a family like mothers especially has a huge influence into who you choose to be your romantic partner. So that can be good or bad. You might have like a mom who's very, very domineering, very, very controlling, and you might get into a relationship with someone who is controlling. It was a comfortable relationship because, you know, it triggered that sense of security, but it was innately very controlling. So I feel like that's what's happening here. So what do you have in terms of advice? Okay, so the first thing that I'm sensing here is this, okay? They're basically telling you in terms of spiritual advice, not to make a move, not to decide on anything for this month. So once again, we have the Four of Cups coming in, meaning you have a lot of options on the table as to, you know, do I go with this person, that person, etc. If you are in a committed relationship, it's more like, you know, do we do this? Do we do that as a couple? And I do feel that it's telling you to basically take some more time for reflection, for introspection, because all the information is not there just yet, okay? And I also feel like if you're dealing with like possibly severing ties, deciding, you know, like we're no longer in a happy committed relationship, should we move on, or should we like come back together? You know, like if you're like in a straggling relationship, it's basically telling you not to make a move just yet. I feel like you might want to break things off with another person, but they're telling you not to do anything just yet, because it's here. It's saying not to make a move. This is somebody that is sincere. They've got their heart out, and they're ready for that offer. They're waiting on you. You have options. You have like multiple options that are currently in your environment, and you're trying to decide, okay? And I feel like a lot of you are still longing for something out there that these options are not meeting just yet. So like all of your criteria are not being currently met in any of these options. So you're still trying to decide. You're still trying to figure out what to do. But I do sense that they're telling you to wait until the last week of the month, okay? If you are dealing with a fire sign, we have fire sign here, which is somebody who might be a little bit jealous and controlling, okay? They're very passionate, but generally a little bit jealous, a little bit controlling. We have a fire sign, Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. And they're showing up in the reverse position. This might be somebody that you have children with, once again. This might be like somebody that you're dealing with where they're kind of like a little bit unreliable. They're here today, gone tomorrow. There is some type of a conflict coming through between you and this person. There might be a little bit of a stalemate because it's linked up here with the Seven of Swords, which is about sneaking around, sneaky behavior, trying to decide, you know, like knowing that there's something that is going on behind the scenes, but not having all the information just yet. So I feel this is an energy that is coming through for some of you, and you're trying to reassess a situation. You might be in a position where, you know, you might want to break things off, but you feel like you should give this person the benefit of the doubt. Others of you are seriously just deciding, you know, I really want to play the field, and I feel like that's what I really want to do, and that's what I'm going to do, but I have this one relationship partner or this one person that is really, really into me, so I don't know how to break it to them gently. Or you might be in a position where you're just like, you know, trying to do both, trying to manage both, like have one person on the side that you know really cares about you, because I feel like you've got somebody who really cares about you here, okay? They wear their heart on their sleeves, and I feel like they do want to build a future with you. They're waiting on you. They're waiting on a decision from you. And I feel like you might at this point be thinking about, do I want a relationship or do I want to play the field? And there's nothing wrong with either of those options. You know, it is what it is. But I feel like if you are, you might want to be honest, because we do have Mercury retrograde. It's not a good time to rock the boat. It's not a good time to test and see what we can get away with. Okay, so be careful. So that's what I feel coming through. And I do sense like this energy is very pervasive throughout the rest of this month, but they're telling you not to make a decision until the end of the month, okay? Be upfront and be honest. And I do feel that someone from the past, you know, you've been in a deep-rooted relationship, and I feel like it left a bitter taste in your mouth. And right now, you might be in a state where you do believe in love, and you want that great, grand love, but you're a little bit jaded. That's what I feel like emotionally and relationship wise. You might be a little bit jaded, okay? And a lot of you are thinking about your financial situation right now, where you want to be, and you want to provide that good life for your romantic partner. So I feel like there are some type of financial considerations creating interference in a relationship, especially for those of you who are coupled, okay? And I feel like children from your end, from their end, or, you know, mutually from both ends, that are also being brought into the mix, okay? So, Pisces, I hope the reading has been helpful. So I'm going to try to see about this spread. It might change next month, but I'm just going to do a few signs and see how I resonate with it. I like it so far. So, I hope you enjoy the reading, and if you'd like a private reading with me, please visit my website where you can view my availability and book an appointment for yourself. Now, I set up the website for that purpose so that everything is streamlined and efficient. I'm really big on efficiency. So, you know, all the information is on there. If you visit the website, you can easily book an appointment, and everything is automated. You will get confirmation emails. I get a copy of the confirmation email, so there's no, you know, confusion about time difference and things like that, because the website does convert time for you as well, okay? So if you like a reading, please book a reading through my website. I've also included a link for the donation for my channel, all right? So if you use that link, I really appreciate that. I wish you all the best, and I'll be back for the mid-month reading. Take care of yourself, and best of luck with everything. Bye-bye.